Lucas 23rd. Is everybody good? I said, is everybody good? So today, we got us, Marilyn Manson, in his interviews. Okay, so a lot of y'all know I've been going through or debating whether I should go down Marilyn Manson rabbit hole. I've done a few songs, and I'm trying to understand him a little bit more. Like, I understand he was an interesting dude. He still is an interesting guy to this day, right? But as I did a few songs, I'm like, I need to look at some of his interviews and kind of understand the man behind the music. So this video right here is him doing a few interviews so I can kind of understand what's going on with his mental and learn more about him, man. I'm trying to be open-minded and trying to figure him out low-key as much as I can. So like button, sub button. Let's go ahead and check out Marilyn Manson interviews. Let's go.
But who was to blame? All the experts had an answer.
Angry, heavy metal subculture. Where were the parents?
Violent movies.
South Park.
Video games.
Television.
Entertainment.
Satan.
Cartoons. Zoom.
Society.
Toy guns. Drugs.
Shock rocker. Marilyn Manson.
Marilyn Manson.
Marilyn Manson.
Marilyn Manson.
Marilyn Manson.
Marilyn Manson has canceled the last 5 dates of his U.S. tour out of respect for those lost in Littleton. But the singer says artists like himself are not the ones to blame.
This is perhaps the sickest group ever promoted by a mainstream record company.
After Columbine, it seemed that the entire focus on why the shootings occurred was because the killers listened to Marilyn Manson.
What?
If you were to talk directly to the kids at Columbine or the people in that community, what would you say to them if they were here right now?
I wouldn't say a single word to them. I would listen to what they have to say, and that's what no one did.
Hold on.
No one did.
Wait, what?
Columbine or the people in that community, what would you say to them if they were here right now?
I wouldn't say a single word to them. I would listen to what they have to say, and that's what no one did.
I don't understand.
Oh, that was deep. That was actually deep. See, I said this in one of my videos. I feel like he was ahead of his time mentally. He was trolling before trolling was a thing, right? And him, even with the alien breasts and all that, he knew what he was doing. He knew he would, if you put those things out there, if you step outside of that comfort zone, the box of just you being normal, you won't grab the average person's attention, right? But if you flare it up with something that people are uncomfortable with a little bit, it gets them going, it gets them to pay attention, it gets more eyes on you. And then through that, they listen to your music as well, right? So it's like a byproduct of getting to the music. What he just said right now was super deep. I will listen to him because that's what, you heard what he just said? He said, I wouldn't ask him nothing. I would listen because that's what nobody else did. Y'all just want to talk to him and bash him, but y'all not listening to him. If you listen, maybe you could have prevented something. That was actually a phenomenal response.
And why you pick Catholicism, why you go with the cross, with God, with the Pope. To me, she has lost her religion because of listening to him as well as other musicians. She's not a Catholic anymore. She has no religion anymore, and that's what's bothering me.
Well, it could be because it was your religion and maybe it wasn't supposed to be hers.
Ooh.
Okay.
And that most children...
Jesus, Marilyn Manson, hey. This man, he's smart as hell. I knew that man was smart. He said, maybe because it was your religion, it was never hers. She's her own individual. Great answer, great response. That boy quick with it too. It would have took me 7 days, 7 business days to come up with a response that good.
don't understand what you're doing and why you're using the F word and why you're acting bizarre. And this can be very, very troubling to children who don't have direction, who don't have responsible parents.
Anything can be misinterpreted. People can look at Christ on a cross and think, this is an image of murder, this is violent, this has sexual imagery in it. And it just, I think it's my job as an artist to be out there pushing people's buttons and making them question everything.
See?
And I respect you for challenging me, and that's why I came on the show.
You gotta, you know.
Wait, real quick. That was a great answer. That's true, though. Think about what he's saying. He's saying people might look at God on the cross with him being, because my grandma's Christian, like hardcore, you know, Christian. And one thing she doesn't like is seeing Jesus on the cross. Because for her, it's him sacrificing himself, and she don't like that. So for some people, seeing that imagery is like, it's brutal. It's a lot to deal with, right? And so, yeah, but man, these answers he giving y'all is crazy.
But let me say something. Let me say something now. I've particularly on this record with the imagery that I use, I tried to look at the things that I was taught growing up about Christianity in a different way. You know, I looked at the image of Christ on the cross and the story of him as someone who was a revolutionary with dangerous ideas, and I started saying to myself, oh, I can relate to this story now. I'm not going to dismiss it, but I'm going to interpret it in a different way. So everybody should, you know, you have to be open-minded. I'm sure when you were young, you didn't want to listen to what your parents were trying to tell you to believe in. You know, she's going to find her own. Maybe someday she'll become a nun. You don't know.
The two byproducts of that whole tragedy were violence and entertainment and gun control. And how perfect that was the two things that we were going to talk about with the upcoming election. And also then we forgot about Monica Lewinsky, and we forgot about the president was shooting bombs overseas, yet I'm a bad guy because I've sang some rock and roll songs. What? And who's a bigger influence, the president or Marilyn Manson? Do you know? I'd like to think me, but I'm going to go with the president.
Boy, that boy's smart. He know what he doing. That was, hey, look, he said, look, what are the odds? This happened right before the election. Now we forgot about Bill getting domed in the White House, getting his balls lit. But now we forget about this. Who's the biggest influence? What's going on? Man, that man is,
What's your message? What are you trying to get across in the lyrics to these songs?
It's always about being yourself and not being ashamed of being different or thinking different. I try and take everyone's ideals, common morals, flip them around, make people look at them differently, question them so that you're not always taking things for granted.
For example, you do rip pages out of the Bible in your concert. You do wipe your ass with the American flag. Mm-hmm. Some of these things, you have to admit, are controversial.
Absolutely.
I mean,
they're designed to make people think, but the point with the Bible or flags is to say it's only as valid as you make it in your heart. A piece of paper,
perception, isn't it, Marilyn?
A piece of paper or a piece of cloth doesn't mean anything. It's what you believe. And I want people to think about what they believe. I want them to consider if everything they've been taught, if that's what they want to believe or that's what they've been told that they have to believe.
You're pretty well. Hey, this man is intelligent, bro. You know, honestly, I've never heard him speak, ever. Like, not once in my life. But he is so articulate in the way that he is explaining his points with clarity. He's not rushing them. Even with the interruption, that old girl tried to interrupt him. It's all about perception. Like, who the fuck who asked you, right? He would looked at her and kept going. He was like, let me tell my guy. Because I would have been like, Lily, who the fuck told you to jump in this? I'm talking. But he continued his point, and it's true. A lot of us have been fed to, like, in the black household, a common black household, is they tell you, first off, you're going to be Christian and Democrat before you even can walk, right? Like, my mom, we debate this all the time because, you know, when it comes to politics, I don't want to talk about politics here. But when I question her, I'm like, who you voting for? And she'll tell me Democrat. And I'm like, what made you? I'm just curious. I was, even as a kid, I was like, well, are you considering Republican? And she's like, no, I would never do that. I'm like, why? She was like, I don't know, just Democrat. I was like, but why? Is the policy better? I used to ask her as like a 52-year-old kid. I'd be like, is the policy better? How's it benefiting you? Like, how's it benefiting your community? And she would just be like, pretty much shut up and stop asking me questions, Democrat. That's the way, this is what I've been told. This is what I've been doing since I've been alive. This is what we're going to keep doing. And so it was like, you don't really have a choice. And it shouldn't be that way. You should do your own research and vote and believe in what you want to believe in on your own accord. Right? Take the time to study, deep dive into these situations, and do what best benefits you and your community.
Spoken guy, yet in your records you use a lot of F word, a lot of swearing and this and that. Again, is it necessary?
Sometimes. I think sometimes when you're making a point, I don't think that my lyrics are overlaced with profanity, because I myself don't speak using a lot of profanity in normal conversation. But I think when you're making something aggressive and you need to get a point across, if you're angry, sometimes profanity is necessary. It's better to use a curse word than to hurt somebody else, I find. Well, I think if parents spent more time trying to censor rock music and art and movies and things like that, and they spent the time teaching their kids to appreciate and understand those things and to know what's right and what's wrong, I think that's more time spent, more value.
You can take some of your lyrics as, you know, you'll understand when I'm dead. I mean, disturbed kids could take the lyrics and say, you know, when I'm dead, everybody's going to know me.
Well, I think that's a very valid point, and I think that that's a reflection of not necessarily this program, but of television in general. If you die and enough people are watching, then you become a martyr, you become a hero, you become well-known. So when you have things like Columbine and you have these kids that are angry and they have something to say and no one's listening, the media sends a message that if you do something loud enough and it gets our attention, then you will be famous for it. Those kids ended up on the cover of Time magazine. The media gave them exactly what they wanted. And that's why I never did any interviews when that happened, when I was getting blamed for it, because I felt that I would be contributing to what I found to be reprehensible.
Wow.
So you don't believe that your songs reflect any kind of suicide wish or anything like that?
No, I feel that my songs talk about getting through feelings like that.
No, it's not. It's responsible because I'm telling them the truth.
No sex.
And we haven't told people the truth.
No, you're making an irresponsible
Suppression of sex throughout history that's made people so violent. I think.
No, wait a minute. You're making the irresponsible.
Let me go ahead and say this right now, y'all. For him to go on these shows and to speak his point, and for him to be like damn near an alien to them, especially during this time. It was pretty much having an alien come to your studio. And you know all of them are looking at you like a weirdo. They don't understand you. For him to go up there and still deal with all that heat is impressive. I respect him for that. It's not easy. I've learned a lot about him throughout this video, man. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this video. And a few of y'all sent me this, and I appreciate it. Because I want to, like, you know, really learn more about him, man. See where he's coming from mentally. And I can tell you right now, this man is intelligent. He reads. He reads quite often.
If you're feeling guilty about having sex,
I've never known anyone who
everybody wants to have sex. The world is created through sex.
The irresponsible assumption is,
I want to have it right now.
The one that you made is that teenage children are going to have sex no matter what. That's not necessarily true at all.
No, it's not.
Oh, Gordon.
It's not.
Yes, it is.
You know what?
I had a lot of teenage companions when I was a teenager.
Really?
And they were not all running around getting laid.
But he was also in prison, so he's got a little different.
Well, he was in school and going in a very dark direction that we really didn't understand. We couldn't connect to it. So we pulled him out of school, and he's now homeschooled. And I feel you can't criticize something you don't know anything about, so I went to the concerts with him. I'm convinced that Marilyn Manson is a true rock and roll star.
Wow, that's so dope. I love that the dad did that, man. A lot of times our kids might dive into different things, music, hobbies that we're not into. And as a parent, I gotta learn this too. My kids are still young. I got a 7 and 5-year-old. My daughter's birthday is today, actually. I don't know when I'm dropping this, but it's today. She just turned 5. And no matter what they get into, I have to be open-minded, right? And realize that just because it's not my thing, don't mean I can't go and experience the thing that they love with them, right? It's a bonding moment. It's their time. And you might, in the process, you might end up enjoying it just like his dad did. So go ahead and try it.
I believe in him.
Hold on.
And he's helped my son be himself through a lot of adversity and crap. And I know that goes for everybody in this room.
That's dope.
If you want to blame rock music for things, think about what the Bible's done. What about Heaven's Gate or Jim Jones or the Ku Klux Klan?
Right.
What they do in the name of Christ.
They totally defy the Bible.
Yeah, but
the Bible says if you love God and hate your brother, you're a liar and God is not in you. Obviously, you have not read that.
No, I've read the Bible. I'm just saying what people do in the name of the
Bible is a liar and God isn't in him. So, you know, if we're going to
stop.
quote the
Just
Bible,
saying what-
when you
please stop
complain
calling
that
the
people
name
take
of
you out of
God.
context, don't take the Bible out of context.
Oh, but
Let alone do it. You know what?
Taking
Let
the
alone
Bible out
do
of
it.
context, he is taking Friedrich Nietzsche out of context. That's what
But the Bible certainly has been the inspiration for an amazing amount of un-Bible-like activity.
I
Very
like the
true.
Bible. I'm just saying I don't like the way people misuse it just as much as people could
Then
misuse
if you
music.
like it, then be the standard and do it. That's the problem.
I like
the
it as a
majority,
book,
the
just like I
majority
like
of
the
people
Cat in the Hat.
say there's something and they're not.
Do you know that the day that Columbine happened, the United States dropped more bombs on Kosovo than any other time during that war?
I do know that, and I think that that's really
Interesting.
ironic, you know, that nobody said, well, maybe the president had an influence on this violent behavior. No, because that's not the way the media wants to take it and spin and turn it into fear, because then you're watching television, you're watching the news, you're being pumped full of fear. There's floods, there's AIDS, there's murder. Cut to commercial. Buy the Acura, buy the Colgate. If you have bad breath, they're not going to talk to you. If you got pimples, the girl's not going to fuck you.
This dude
and
is
it's just
good.
this,
He's
it's a
intelligent
campaign
as hell.
of fear and consumption. And that's what I think that it's all based on, is the whole idea that keep everyone afraid and they'll consume.
What standards do you
ahead
have
of
and
his
where
time.
do you draw the line as far as what is good and what is evil?
I have basic principles that kind of exist in all religions,
Such
even
as?
Christianity.
Such as?
Well, the fundamentals, you know, you don't kill people, you know, a basic good person.
Okay, so
Probably
you
the
belong,
same as yours.
Do you? No, they're not the same. Guarantee they're not the same. You are a minister of the, you know, of the Church of Satan.
I'm not a minister, man.
Okay, because I don't know. Rolling Stone, I've heard that you were into the Church of Satan. I assume that you read the Satanic Bible by Anton LaVey.
I read both Bibles.
Okay.
Christian Bible too.
Right. Okay, and we know that the Bible has 10 commandments, not 10 suggestions.
Right.
And there's one commandment in the book of Satan. What is that commandment?
I don't know. I don't preach.
Kill the Gita garden.
You don't? They would like to.
I mean, I follow
would like
basic
to.
principles
People
like
forget,
anybody else
what
would.
people
No,
don't
but-
see is
but
that
what
when
it
you're
is-
a 14-year-old or a 16-year-old and you go to his concert, it enunciates what you're feeling. Do you remember what you felt like at that age? I do.
Yeah, I want to bug my parents.
Yeah, look, bruh. Hey, he was smoking those interviews. He was doing them dirty. He was rapping. He was talking circles around them with logic. Like, he was like, forget your feelings. Look, logic will overshadow your feelings. If you don't like the way I look, like what I'm saying, doesn't matter. It still doesn't negate the fact that what I'm saying is truthful. You don't matter how you spin it, lick it, rub it around. It's the truth, whether you like it or not. So I like that, man. Look, I got a better, deeper understanding of where he's from, what he represent, and how and how he moved, how he was moving mentally back then was wild. I thoroughly enjoyed this, man, a lot more than I expected. I just never heard him. I never heard him talk. I need to start doing this for more artists that I react to, that I'm getting into, to learn more about them, the artists, so I can get a better understanding of their actual music. So I might start off doing more like interview reactions as well. So stay tuned for that. Like button, sub button. I'll see y'all soon. Kingston, Majesty.